I am blessed with this opportunity. I'm so excited, guys, to have this morning to interview Lytia Brock. Listen to this, a mother of five, a pastor, an author, certified life coach. And what drew me to her is her passion. She helps people conquer self doubt, help them take a self inventory, and really make the most of life's lemons. I think a lot of us, we were just talking about earlier, we internalize, we don't know how to let go of these constant stories and regrets, or even like she was just saying, I should have added a pickle to the sandwich. I should have done this. I should have done that. And when we do decades of this, what does it do to us, Latia? And what can we do to just stop this vicious, endless cycle?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me to be on. I'm so excited to speak with you today, and hopefully, the people watching will be blessed. So, yes, that vicious cycle, you have to get out of your own head. It breaks you down. It makes you, again, doubt. It makes you think that you should be doing more than you're already doing or sometimes capable of doing. I think we have to remember that. Sometimes we try to do more than we're capable of doing in that moment. So we have to realize, pause, take a pause moment, breathe, and just think, what do I need to be doing? How can I be better? Okay, taking self inventory, of what I did this time. How can I make it better next time? Or not being so hard on ourselves. That's what I want people to focus more on. That's what I want moms to focus more on.
And how do you balance? I mean, a lot of us just have like one or two kids. Share the
It's just
ages of your kids. I
right.
want everyone to know the ages
Yes.
of your kids.
Okay, so the ages again are 16, 13, 7, 6, and my son will be 5 in March. So I have 4 daughters and 1 son. And as far as balance, I run the household like a business. We do family meetings. We have our prayer time. Everybody has their phones synced. We have alarms. Everybody has a plan. Um, but I think the biggest thing, I let my children have a voice. That's very important. So while I'm the caretaker of the home, I allow them to have a voice. I allow them to have the idea that they're the boss of themselves and mommy is the boss of everyone. So it's a well-oiled machine. I think we have those days where there are hiccups, but we get right back on track like anybody else. And you just have to trust your children. You have to trust them once you've given them the vision and the plan to be able to carry it out.
How do you trust that? When you're filled with doubt, like I have a 18-year-old, and when she leaves 2 minutes before her shift starts, and you think, oh gosh, is she gonna get fired? Is she going to be able to navigate? And my husband's like, you know what? Just let it go. If she gets fired, I'm like, if she gets fired, you know.
Yeah,
But I tell myself,
right.
no, it's okay, it's okay. And then other parents are like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I would never allow my daughter to, and
Right.
it's at 18, it's not. What am I gonna do? Take her phone away if she's late for work? So how do you
Yeah,
handle
it's
that
hard.
that trust?
Yeah, it's hard because, like I said, my oldest, she just turned 16, but um, she's had a cell phone for a while. I am allowing her to be a little bit more free.
Mhm.
So it's hard. It's a hard thing to do, to let go, because our babies lived inside of us. You felt their heartbeat, you felt their movement. Now that they're older, you want the best for them. You want them to live in a certain way that is going to bring glory and honor to the Father, of course, and then just be in a way that nobody's pointing the finger at them or calling you. But when they get older, as they get older, you have to know that what you've instilled in them, what you've said over them, what you told to them will hopefully stick. And even if they make their own decisions and mess up, they'll come back to what lies within.
And can you share some of the challenges if you don't mind? I'm sure every one of us can relate. Something that you
Oh my
thought.
goodness. I'm having a hard time with the dating aspect. I am so nervous.
But
I
in
am
a way, don't you think the
so
pandemic is a
nervous.
slight
No,
blessing? The
it
pandemic is a
is.
slight blessing.
It is. But things are slowly opening up. So it's like,
Yes.
hey, a group of us. And a group of us to me is like, oh my goodness, these horrible people that want to try to corrupt my child.
Is that group?
And I'm
Does that
blessed.
include a boy? All it needs is one boy.
Yes. Listen, there's several boys, there's several girls, but it hurts sometimes because I'm like, I just want to just hold her, but I can't. And I know I have to, let her do certain things so that there's no backfire in a sense. But people don't always raise their children the way that you raise them. So I think that's where my biggest fear is, like trusting. I trust her, but when I was 16, I had her. So now she's at that point where I was. And I'm like, please just stay focused because she's bright. All of my children, they're very great students. This pandemic has changed a lot for us, academically, but overall, they're still striving towards their goals. But being 16 and there's boys that like her, I am going crazy. I am. I can't do this. I'm not ready. I cried. I cried the other day. I'm not ready. I'm not.
Well,
I'm
because
like,
I mean,
I'm not.
I noticed mothers who've had children at a young age, they're either, well, it doesn't sound like but you're either too strict or you want to be too strict, or your fear is that history will
Yeah.
repeat and you have
Yeah.
absolutely no control over who your daughter's gonna fall in love with, or who's going to be courting her and,
Yeah.
just saying, "Oh my gosh, you are just everything," and then your daughter says, "Oh my gosh, I love you too," and then there's
Yeah,
no
I'm not
change.
ready. Like, don't love her. Don't look at her. I'm not ready. So I think that's the biggest thing right now. We're dealing with not so much trust issues, but she's like, "Mom, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay." And I keep saying it. And she's the type that's like, "Okay, mom, I heard you. I got it." Whereas my other daughter, she's like, she'll put me on do not disturb. So
I love that. Oh my gosh, I
teenage
love that.
daughters, the hurdle of teenage daughters. Nobody could have prepared me to be a mother of teenagers. Who made this world? Because this world of teenage daughters, that's one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing. The attitude, the fact that I have 5 representations of myself who act like me and think like me, and I live with them daily, and I can't get mad at what they say sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I probably would have said that too. So right now, one of the biggest hurdles I'm dealing with is the trust piece, and then just teenagers, like, oh, teenagers.
When sometimes they're not even teenagers. I've had, and mothers who, well, you actually you
Mm-hmm.
have them all. You have all the age groups, but sometimes they're 8, but they're acting like they're 16, or they're 4, and they think that
Yeah.
they're, 24, and you just wonder
Mm-hmm.
where did that come from, and especially the 4-year-olds. I'm going to do this. I want to put my shoes on. I want to, and then you don't have time, right? A lot of moms are like,
He's
we don't have
so
time.
independent.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That you have to be patient. You have to. Because my son, Sonny, his name is Charles, but we call him Sonny. Sonny is so independent to where he doesn't
Weird.
want anybody.
Oh, there you
Can
are.
you hear me? Okay, there we
Yeah.
go. He doesn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to do anything for him. He doesn't want anybody to make sure he's okay. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And like you said, sometimes we're on the go. And I'm like, listen, I picked him up the one day and put him over my shoulder and put his shoes on in the car. Here, do it in the car because we have to go. We have to go. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack being a parent. It is.
So how do you make the most of life's lemons? Suppose we all know moms who've left abusive relationships. They're filled with guilt. They're filled with shame. They feel judged, and they wonder, have I damaged my children? Sometimes they think that. The words that I've said, I've apologized for. It happened 10 years ago, but you're left with, how you said about that pickle? Something like that. Those
Mm-hmm.
words rip their self esteem. And don't you love when they go, yeah, remember when I was 10? Remember when and you just want to just say, yeah, yeah,
Like I just want to rewind and go back to that time and take that moment out. Cause I get that sometimes. Like, mom, you said, I'm like, don't you said me. Don't you said me.
said me. Yeah. And I said, you know what? Especially after writing that book, How to Let Go, right? Mom, did you write that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not. So did you just lie when you wrote that book?
Mm-hmm. Remember you said that. Remember you said gets me every time because I'm like, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Um, I think the biggest thing we have to remember when dealing with a sour experience. So lemons are always seen as gross and sour, and nobody wants them. But you don't have to make lemonade. People always say, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade." And in my first book, Making the Most of Life's Lemons, some people don't drink lemonade. Some people don't like lemons, but there's other uses for lemons. For life, for the point of life, those sour experiences, whatever obstacle I've been faced with, I've chosen to find a solution, no matter how hard. When it came to divorce, I wrestled with the fact of getting a divorce because I knew that I would be breaking up my family. And then coming from the background in the church, I knew that it would be, seen as a negative thing. It would be frowned upon. There were so many people in my ear, fight for your marriage and you work towards it and you do this and you do that. But I knew I wasn't happy. I knew it. I woke up, I wasn't happy. I was getting sick because of stress. I was not being the best mom I could be. There were days when the house wasn't done, chores weren't being done. And I said, I have to do something about this. So I chose to, at that time, talk about counseling. That didn't work, chose to get divorced. And then I sat down with my children. I said, look, mommy wants to, separate from daddy. We'll be getting a divorce. This is what it looks like. Now, having young children, they don't always get that. They just know that their routine is being broken up, and then you have children who come home and they're telling you about things that they're experiencing somewhere else. And it's like, you can't really say too much because you're, in a situation. So you just have to try to do whatever you can to breathe through it. Meditation was big for me. Journaling was big for me. Crying is a big piece and a big part of healing. I cry sometimes now, and it's not necessarily that I'm sad, but it's a cleansing. We as mothers go through so much, so much. So to have those moments where you're able to pause, cry, get it out. You have to get it out. You can't always talk to your children because they're not old enough. You may not be able to talk to your ex-spouse or, those closely around you because they may not, be able to receive it. Cry, scream,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have to do for a release. Find what modes help you to be able to relieve that stress of that sour experience, and that will help alleviate some of the doubt.
I love that because I think is that why some people can't, when they say I can't let go, I can't heal. It's been 12 years, it's been 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's because they haven't processed it? I mean, in your experience, when people say I can't let go, I'm just such a loser, these things will never change. Why do you think some people, how do you just let go? Someone says, how do you let go? I love when you said that. You pause,
You have to
take a breath.
pause. You have to breathe, sitting there in your thoughts and feelings. So for me, I had to verbalize with your mouth, confession is made. I am getting divorced. I chose to get divorced. I had to sit there with that. And even some days I'm now like, oh my goodness, like I can't always. I had a moment, I want to say maybe a couple months ago. It was right around Christmas time. So yeah, a couple months ago, where I sat there and I said, I really got divorced because Daddy.
Oh, I just lost you.
And can you hear me? Hold on one moment. Hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can't. There you go. There you
Okay.
go.
So my daughter said to me, she said, well, do you still love daddy? And I said, yes. I said, I love your father. Then why aren't you with daddy? And I'm like, here we go. Because she's now 6 years old and she doesn't understand every aspect of it, but she recognizes that I go to daddy's house, I go to mommy's house, I go to daddy's house, I go to mommy's house. Now you add this virtual school piece in the mix, and that's a whole nother conversation. And it's a constant thing. Children need structure. So when their routine is broken up, it does affect them as well. So I had to sit there and I had to rest in that feeling. I said, I chose to get divorced because there were days when I felt like, should I have done that? If I would have stayed in it, we would have been at 8 years. We probably would have been coming up on our ninth anniversary. But you can't do that. When you're sitting in that space, you need to verbalize why you did it, look at the pros and the cons, but there should be more pros. I got out of this situation because of, even if it's not divorce, even if you feel like you're a bad parent, there's times I don't feel like I'm the greatest mom. There's
Mm-hmm.
times that I don't feel like I, did the best that I could have done on some days. There's times that I know that, because of my tiredness, I could have done better in my responses. Because if I don't get enough sleep, I'm a little snappy, you know?
Like all of us.
So we know that as moms. We know that as moms. So on those days, it's important for us to make sure to not take it out on our children. Make sure to not take it out on our children, but rest with those feelings, verbalize those feelings, confess those feelings, because honesty is what helps your healing.
So how did you explain? Can I ask you how you explain to your daughters? Like, if you love, that's a good question from a 6 year old. Yeah, what
Um,
that doesn't make sense to me, mommy. Why aren't you with him?
just
What's the
basically,
6 year old answer? I mean, because depending on how old they are, right?
yeah. So I just basically told her, mommy and daddy weren't happy together. They weren't healthy together. And so she said, well, you were sick. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I was mentally, physically, and emotionally sick.
Yeah. Like I have to be honest with my children. I said, we weren't happy together. We weren't healthy together. And I said, when people are like that, you can't work well together. You can't. There's no way to work well together. When you're constantly arguing and bickering and fussing and fighting, that is not a great environment to be in. And that sometimes we hold on to relationships and situations because we think, oh my goodness, let's stay together for the kids. But the kids would rather have two healthy parents than two parents that are constantly arguing, fussing, fighting, snapping out. Kids don't want that. Kids don't want that.
I've heard that. I remember one of my friends said the best decision my parents made. All the siblings were so happy when the parents got divorced because, like you said, you are just so tired of witnessing
Mm-hmm.
that environment. And do you think that sends the wrong message to kids? Like, you know what, you got to stay together regardless of your if you're happy or not. I mean, what message are we sending?
Definitely. Definitely. It's a healthier environment. If you're not always arguing and screaming at each other, you're not sleeping in separate rooms, and your children would fare better if you would be honest, love your children, of course, continue to love your children. But if you have to separate for peace, separate.
And what's the way that you just the balancing part, if you only have a few minutes, a lot of us, we don't have time, but what do you do to have that peace, just release stress, if you only have, say, 5 minutes? I'm noticing a lot of moms are now saying meditation. If you have all of your five with you and you don't have, how do you make alone time? How do you create that alone time?
So right now I'm getting up earlier than everybody again. I am back in the gym. So my days usually start at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. So I do have an alarm. In the household, we have either iPhones or they have their tablets. I don't wake them up as early, but I was recognizing that I needed that time where I could just focus and meditate. I work better when I get up, I pray or meditate. I put on my go to song for the day. I have a morning playlist that I usually play, and I just allow that, even if I don't get right out of bed, I allow that to play as I'm, going forward in my day. And then I have my next schedule. I go to the gym. That helps me relieve a lot of stress because I'm able to, like, run it out or walk it out, those feelings and emotions. So that time is important for me. And then after I take my shower, it's okay, time to get the kids up. But that morning routine, establishing a good morning routine. I had to debunk the myth and quit saying that I was not a morning person. I hear so many moms, I'm just so tired from the night before, I'm not a morning person. Your morning routine is important because you have to command the day. You have to be in charge of, if you're doing virtual school, my hat is off to you. I am there with you. I agree and help. you know, if you're working from home, a lot of us are still working from home and doing virtual school. If you're not working from home, you're a stay-at-home mom and you're a wife. Listen, you need to establish a morning routine. I'm not telling you to get up as early as 4:30, but making sure that you're up a little bit earlier than everybody so you could take time to catch your breath, because the rest of your day is going to be gone.
Yes.
You know, errands, laundry, grocery, making sure you have something for dinner. Establishing a good morning routine. Without my morning routine, I already know how the rest of my day is going to go. Have to have a morning routine.
Well, I never
Have to.
thought of that because I think sometimes you're on autopilot, and I think a lot of women would choose sleep. I think I'm gonna just sleep until I need to start my day. But I'm realizing that a lot of women who are more balanced do get up earlier, or they have just their me time, even though it's a YouTube video, like some kind of
Mm-hmm.
exercise. So you're able to. Can I ask how long your time at the gym is?
Okay, say that last part again. I'm sorry.
How long is your time at the gym? How long is your workout when you arrive at the gym?
My workout usually is 30 minutes of fasted cardio, or it could be an
Wow.
hour. So that means I'm not eating anything before I'm going to the gym. And I'm usually just, I hop on the stair climber. Now, I'm not telling you, let me give the disclaimer because I always tell people don't do my routine. Check with your physician first, check with your healthcare provider first. But I usually get up in the morning, doing my morning routine, take a sip of water, nice, bottle of water. That's my first thing to help cleanse everything. And then I'm out the door to the gym for whatever workout I'm going to do. And then it's either 30 minutes of fasted cardio or I might do heavy 15 minutes on the machine and then some lifting. So whatever you're able to do, even just walking around the block. I know a lot of moms like to jog. Whatever you have to do to, kind of get yourself in that space of, okay, I'm taking care of myself too, because it's a self-care piece.
Mhm.
Working out is a
Mhm.
self-care piece. We cannot take care of everybody else efficiently and effectively if we're not taking care of ourselves first.
Well, so can I ask what your nighttime routine is right before you end your day?
Yes, I was going to get to that as well. So nighttime, usually at night, I try to make sure that we have our family prayer. We do dinner. After dinner, I'm making sure all the lights are out. Everybody's good. That's my biggest thing. Heads in bed. Everybody in bed, please. I have to say that maybe about 10 times to the 6-year-old and the 5-year-old because I think at bedtime I turn into someone else and I'm speaking a different language because they don't understand what I'm saying. So after the 10th time of making sure they're in bed, I may take a bubble bath or take my shower for the night. And then I try to do a little bit of next day prep, um, just so I'm not going crazy in the morning. So next day prep looks like making sure their stuff is put out, making sure, doors are locked, lights are off, iPads and
Oh,
laptops are plugged in because everybody has to use a device now for school. So just making sure everybody has everything they needed. And then before bed, again, just getting my mind right, giving, just thanks for the day that I had. Um, no matter how
gratitude.
tough the day, I don't say that I have bad days anymore, but no matter how tough the day, I'm grateful to see it because I know that everybody wasn't awarded that opportunity. And then I try to be in bed by 10:30 or 11 so that way I can wake up early.
Wow. I'm just in awe. I think a lot of do you are you list do you keep lists so that
Mhm.
because it sounds like with five
Yeah, I
kids
do this.
with it so you have distance learning with a 5-year-old as well then right is ever all five
Look, let
kids
me show you. Wait a minute. Let me show you. I have it right here. This is the book that I live by.
wow.
In addition to the Bible, you have to have a plan, people. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan because without you're gonna be busy. You're going to be moving. You're going to be shaking. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan.
Yeah, and I love how you show that. I have that hard copy planner. I don't like the virtual. I mean, my husband's like, you got to do the Google Calendar, and I have that virtual calendar. But isn't it nice to physically like write it, and you don't know if something's going to happen. Oh, it disappeared, or when you have something that's just on a tablet or on a
Mm-hmm.
phone or something. Wow. So you are a pastor, like a practicing pastor, or how do you add that into your day or your
Hold
life
on, real
right
quick. I'm
now?
trying to turn you up a little bit. I don't know why I can't. Here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? Uh oh. Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Did you lose the audio?
Hold on 1 second. I'm having technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Good, good,
Okay.
good, good. So yes, I work in ministry with my father. Um,
Cool.
Before that, I was working with my ex-husband at the time. We had a ministry, but I continued. I do have a nonprofit here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's called Cloaked in Favor Outreach Ministries, where our mission is to help those that are not considered the status quo. Um, because our mission, we believe, to meet the natural needs of people first. It's great, to
Wow.
be spiritually inclined, but we have to realize, like we're talking about today, that that natural piece has to be in effect. That natural piece has to be in effect. We have to be happy. We have to be healthy so that we're able to help our children and our family. So we focus more so on the natural needs, food, pampers, resources, um, rent, utilities, things that help us to take a little bit of the stress off. It's easier to minister to somebody when they have pampers on their baby. I went through that as a teen mom, where I didn't know, like, oh my goodness, how much is this pack of Pampers? Okay, well, that means I'm able to get this and not that. So I get it. And then as far as being an author, um, the first book is Making the Most of Life's Lemons.
Hmm.
That's where the Life's Lemons piece comes in. And that's a 40-day workbook to help spark positive change in your business, your book, or your brand. The second book is Self Inventory. That's a 30-day workbook, and that's meant to just help you take a look
Wow.
within and, eliminate that self doubt piece. That book is a book that you want to get to definitely do the work. There's journal entries, there's exercises, because you're going to have to do the work for your healing. You have to do the work for your healing. So all of those books are available on Amazon or wherever books are sold. And then the last book, Day by Day, that's what I do every night before bed. Give thanks for the day that we've had. It's 365 days of gratitude. It's a journal that's going to allow you to, again, examine and then just say, you know what, no matter how dark, no matter what emotions I'm feeling, I'm grateful for this day.
I can't believe you made the time to write a 30. You have all these. It's not just, oh, this is a book. You actually had to come up with the exercises. You had to come up with a plan. And then you had to raise your kids. And then you had to
You
use.
know what? And my 12-year-old, she's an author as well. So she'll be 13
What did she
in
write?
July.
Can
Yep,
you share
she's
her
an
book?
author as well. She wrote a book called Girl in the Shadows, and it's about bullying. She was experiencing a few things. She ran for class president, and her platform was against bullying. Um, so it's very important, I think, to carve out that time. And I didn't just sit down, you guys. Let me debunk that myth as well. I didn't just sit down and write 10 books at once. I didn't do that. It was a process. Um, the first book took me 3 years to complete because I would write a little bit, I would put it down, I would write a little bit, put it down. And I thought the motherhood book would be first, but it didn't turn out like that. The space that I was in was helping people get over those sour experiences, including myself. So that's how that book was birthed. But take your time, write a little bit each day, journal if you're an aspiring author and you can complete your manuscript. You can. I've had a couple of clients complete within 30 days. I've had people do it in 60 days, but you can definitely do it. You
Do you
can.
guide them? Is it self-published? I mean, because I felt self-published my first book, but it's just such an overwhelming process. When you realize that you have to like format it. When you is that
It's a lot.
what platform or what did you use to you self-published it?
So Lemons, I went through Zulon. They're a very good publishing company. And then the last couple of books I did go ahead and self-publish. But I established a team here in Pittsburgh. So we do have editors and content creators and graphic designers because it is a lot of work. Like you said, it is a lot of work. So through Lemons Writing Group, we help other authors who are aspiring to get their books out, to get their book complete. They write it, we make sure we edit it, format it, and then we help them through the publishing process because, as you said, it is a lot of work. It is.
Coach plus you help. It sounds like you just help authors with their journey to publish, and then you
Yes.
do your ministry. You are Wonder Woman.
I wish I received that. I
No,
received
but
it.
no, but you're balancing. I mean, you are the epitome of just balance because it's not like it's hard enough, I think, raising 5 kids, but you know what it is, I just realized, I think it's because you take the time
Yeah.
establishing the morning
Time is a big piece
routine.
of it. Time is a big piece of it. I
Yes.
never wanted to seem like it's just easy. And I'm just, no, without time,
So it's
time
time it's
management
time
is the
for
key.
yourself though, yeah, time management, but you carve out your time and you get up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm sure it's not like, yes, just bouncing out of bed, but I think when you put yourself first. Is that what you're
Hmm.
saying? And you have your morning routine implemented, followed by your nighttime, and then it sounds like you are role modeling for your kids as well. Like, how do you navigate this,
Definitely.
especially with the pandemic? Your whole schedule has changed, right?
Our lives have changed. I think everybody's life has been touched. We've been in the house together. I think my oldest said for over 300 and something days.
Oh my
March,
god, that's
I'll say maybe
right.
March 16th.
It was last March.
Yeah, March 16th will be that year mark of us being around each other every day in a pandemic, with the exception of, when the three babies go to their father's house. If you would have told me that the pandemic would have changed everybody's life like this, I probably wouldn't have believed it. It's been a huge, huge piece, I'm sure, of all of our history.
Hmm.
And right now, our current time, because a lot of us are still living through it. So it's a lot. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot of changes. There's days where I'm just like, please vacation me somewhere,
Yes,
please send me
exactly,
somewhere
exactly. I
because we
like that.
haven't
Vacation
gone
me.
anywhere. Yeah, but
Well,
vacation me, please.
can you tell us how we can find you? Instagram, website. I mean, how can people find you? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who have their stories that they want to publish, and you make it sound like you do have. You make it easier to guide them to go through the publishing process. How can we find you?
So definitely, for publishing, you can go to lemonswritinggroup.com. Uh, I'm on any platform as Lytia S. Brock, S as in Sam. And then my website, www.lytiabrock.com. And you'll be able to follow the videos, the blog with me and the tribe, the books, Freedom Friday, Monday morning, which used to be Motivation Monday. And just sometimes I hop on with my dad. We do car rides with dad. So just to follow the journey so far, I'm still learning as I grow. I don't have all the answers, but I'm always glad to share what I know. So yes, Lytia S. Brock on all platforms. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Thank you so much. This has been very enlightening, very inspiring, and I just thank you for your time because you are a very, very busy woman. So I think it's giving us hope that it is possible, right?
It
Despite
is. It is
the
possible.
sour
It is
lemons,
possible.
despite challenges, despite even the pandemic, that we can do this. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for
And
giving us
thank you for
hope.
inviting me.
You have a great Friday. Thanks, Lucia. Take care.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay, bye.